Live from the KWQC Broadcast Center in downtown Davenport with Morgan Otier and Kyle Keel. This is Quad Cities Live.
Today on QCL, get your bibs ready because Lobster Fest is back. We are diving into the delicious details of this popular fundraiser, making a big impact across the Quad Cities.
And local art, handmade goods, and craft beer. Radical Effects May Community Market is taking place this Sunday. It's going to be the place to be, so we've got a sneak preview at what to expect.
And later, she is known as the Shoe Lady of Galesburg. We'll introduce you to the woman who has collected more than 20,000 pair to help people around the world to take their next step toward a better life. Hello and happy Friday, May 16th. Thank you so much for joining us for Quad Cities Live. I'm Morgan Otier.
And I'm Kyle Keel. Get ready for some high-flying fun on the water and a little local shopping on the shore. We're talking about the Backwater Gamblers. They're about to kick off their water ski season on the Rock River with gravity-defying stunts and family-friendly performances.
Absolutely, but the fun isn't limited to the waves as some recurring vendor markets are planned throughout the summer. So we want to learn more about it. We've got performer Kenzie Clausen here and Courtney Ridgely, the vendor market organizer. Ladies, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
It must be that time of year again, right?
It sure is.
Exciting times.
It is exciting. So Kenzie, talk to us a little bit about the Backwater Gamblers for those who haven't seen your show before. What's it all about?
So we are a water ski show team. We're located on the banks of the Rock River in Rock Island, just off the Rock Island Milan Parkway.
Yeah.
We're a competitive team, so we compete a couple times a year, and then we provide free shows for the Quad Cities and surrounding area.
There you guys are.
You all are good.
Yes.
I mean, these are so entertaining to watch. So how long have you all been doing this? Not specifically, I guess, how long has the Backwater Gamblers been around? Because I remember as a kid going down to watch these shows along the Rock River. So you've been around for a while.
Yeah, so the club formed in 1980, and we started competing in tournaments shortly after that.
Okay, very cool. Well, we're seeing some amazing video right now, so if you haven't seen it in person, I mean, this right here should convince you. But talk a little bit more about what people can expect when they come to one of your live performances.
So they can definitely expect to be entertained, that's for sure. So we have a lot of thrilling stunts that we do, pyramid building, jumps, barefooting, a lot of high-speed acts. We're doing some new stuff lately, so a lot of tandem acts, people pulling people behind a boat. So that's definitely new. But unlike any other sport, you know, other sports have a lot of that action. We also have a stage performance, so music, dancing, and a lot of comedy. A couple years ago, we actually scored the best comedy act in the nation, so that's really exciting.
Amazing.
Yeah, they're very entertaining and yes, very funny as well. So Courtney, we want to bring you in the conversation as well. Now your husband is the announcer for the Backwater Gamblers, so he's got a pretty big, important job. So what does it take to put on a show like this twice a week for the Backwater Gamblers?
Lots of little things, like you have to make sure that ropes are ready, that boats are gassed up, that the performers are ready. There's so many little details that go into it, and the show directors have to remember to do so many different things. Yeah, and it takes a team to pull it all together.
Definitely more than just water skiing, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Kenzie, from what I remember, you all start practicing on dry land, like when it's still cold outside. You start practicing
we start usually mid-February. Dry land maybe once a week, once every other week, and then we just transitioned to outdoor practice finally last week. So
exciting. Yes, we
really
are
fun.
finally warming up, aren't we?
So the season's about to get underway. So any special events coming up that we need to know about here in the near future?
So we're actually hosting several events this year. A lot of come and try days where we're inviting the community to come and ski with us. Our next one is June 19th, so look forward to that. Look at our social media and stay in tune with that. And then we're also hosting the Central Region Tournament, which is the second weekend in July. And then Courtney is organizing some vendor fairs.
Yes, we're going to have 4 vendor shows throughout the summer. The first one being at our very first show on May 25th, our very first show, which is also Memorial Day weekend. And then we are going to have another show another vendor show on Father's Day, which is June 15th. Then we're having another one in July, which is July 20th. And then our last one is going to be on Labor Day weekend, and we're going to have on the Sunday show on August 31st.
Wonderful. Well, great job with that. Memorizing all of those dates. So we're seeing some really cool photos scroll across the screen right now, but talk a little bit more about what we can find at these vendor markets, these vendor shows.
At vendor shows, you can find, we have some homemade candle makers, some people are selling Scentsy, Pampered Chef. I will be there selling my bags, which just were on the screen.
I know. And you brought them with you, yeah.
Yes, and then we're also going to be selling Backwater Gambler merchandise. So I brought some t-shirts to show that I make at my job, Commercial Printers in Eldridge. They allow me to do this.
Well, that's nice.
So we are able to make them at a low cost. So we're selling them for $20, and then all the proceeds go directly back to the Backwater Gamblers.
Oh, very, very cool. Well, Kyle's holding up the shirt right now, and I want to show off your bags as well because I remember you showing us these last year. These are really popular, and these are just like perfect totes for people to carry around. You've got like every pattern under the sun as well.
I try to.
Something for everyone. So if, you know, we obviously feature a lot of vendors on this show. So if someone's watching right now and they're like, you know what, I'd like to take part in this, can they do that this season still?
Yes, they can still do that. It's $35 per show. Otherwise, they can spend $100 and sign up for all 4 that we're having this summer.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Yeah, that is great. And of course, it all goes back to you guys because the Backwater Gamblers, you don't have to pay anything, Kenzie, to go and see a show. There is no ticket cost.
We put on shows for free. Basically, the biggest way to support us is coming to see a show and then donating to our organization because we are a nonprofit to be able to do this.
That's very cool. And you talked about the Try It Out nights that are going to be coming up. You guys held one last night, correct?
Yes, yeah, we did.
Okay, how did that go?
It was okay. Well, the wind kind of ruined it a little bit.
It was
super windy. We did have some people interested though, so I'm super excited for them to come back and try on June 19th.
What a fun thing to do.
Yeah. Be sure to pay attention to those dates and then try it out yourself because what you all do is it's not easy. That's for sure. Yeah, very talented. Well, the Backwater Gamblers start their shows Memorial Day weekend, as we mentioned, and they'll continue throughout the summer until Labor Day weekend. There are water ski shows every Sunday and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. on the Rock River in Rock Island, just off Black Hawk Road and the Parkway there. The shows are free, but donations are always accepted. And if you want to learn all about the Backwater Gamblers, you can head to their website on your screen, backwatergamblers.com. Kenzie and Courtney, as always, we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Very much, yes. And speaking of getting out on the water, we're starting to see more and more boats on the river. Coming up, we'll get some safety reminders from the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
Memorial Day weekend is the unofficial kickoff to summer, and many folks will be hitting the water with their boats. But before you launch, it's important to make sure that you're putting safety first.
Yeah, safety first always. So joining us today with some essential tips, resources, and reminders is Charles Brennan with the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. Thank you so much, Charles, for joining us once again. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Yes, of course. So first we want to start off with the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary. So tell us what it is and why it's so important.
So we are a force multiplier for the United States Coast Guard and Coast Guard Reserve. We were congressionally formed in 1939. So at the turn of the century, we had a big uptake in recreational boating, which had a lot of problems that came with it.
Sure.
And so conversations between a yacht club out in California that belonged to one of the guilds out there with the TV studios and a officer of a Coast Guard cutter, it came about through some conversations and stuff to create the auxiliary.
Wonderful.
So we support the United States Coast Guard in everything but military and law enforcement operations. So we cover public affairs, recruiting, education, operations.
Pretty important job.
Yep.
There's a lot.
Basically every marine safety.
Single thing.
So pretty much anything that's not military or law enforcement.
Wonderful. Okay, well, National Safe Boating Week, it's coming up actually. It begins tomorrow.
It does, yep.
And it goes through the 23rd. So it is really the perfect time to, you know, get some safety reminders because there's going to be a lot of boats out there. What I think is truly amazing is you guys provided us with some statistics as we prepared for this segment today.
These are wild.
More than 8,000 recreational vessels and more than 3,000 of them just locking through on the Mississippi River in the Quad Cities.
Yep.
That's pretty much the average.
Yes.
I think that's amazing.
That was, yep. So that is a lot of boats coming through
It sure is,
through the locks and dams.
Yeah, it really
And I
is.
mean, talk about registered boaters along the Mississippi River. Just from Dubuque and Burlington alone, I think you said that there was more than 30,000 registered boaters.
That is the number that I got from the Iowa
Oh
DNR.
my
Yep.
gosh! Wow, that's a startling statistics for
Yes.
sure.
It really
Yep.
is.
So we got
That
to
is
keep all
a
these
lot.
people safe.
Yes.
Yeah, and you guys offer safe boating courses. So who are those for, or who should be taking those courses?
Anyone who owns or operates a vessel
Okay.
should be taking them.
So we hear that 30,000
Yes.
boats that are registered.
So we highly recommend doing them. We teach them in conjunction with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay.
And we just wrapped up our courses in April.
Okay.
So the month of April, every Saturday, we offer a course. It is free.
Okay.
And so it's an 8-hour day. It's a long day, but there's
But it's
a lot.
free. You heard him.
Yes.
There's a lot. There's we've had boaters in classes who have been boating their whole life, and they're like, wow, I learned a lot.
Right. That's great.
So
Well, let's talk about vessel safety checks because those are obviously very important. So,
Yeah.
how can any boaters out there schedule to get one of those done?
So if you are wanting to get one done very soon, tomorrow over at Sunset Marina,
Oh,
starting at
wow.
9:30 in the morning to about 12 or 1, depending on how busy our examiners are. They will be a couple over there at Sunset Marina. So just bring your boat. If you're on the river, bring it up. If you need to trailer it, you can trailer it. We can inspect it right on the trailer.
It is just better to know, like before you get out on the water.
Yeah.
I mean, you maybe have been boating for more than a decade or even longer than that, but the reminders, we have winter, so we are
Yep.
off the water for
Yeah.
several months, and sometimes there's something that you may be forgetting that,
Yeah.
you know, if you get pulled over or something by the DNR, like you're gonna wish that you had that
Yeah.
safety
Need the
check.
refresher, yeah.
Yeah, and our safety checks, we're not looking to, we won't write you any tickets, obviously, right? We're not
Right.
doing law enforcement or anything. We're just making sure you have
What you
fire
need, yeah.
extinguishers, life jackets, the safety gear and stuff that you need that keep you within state and federal regulations to keep you safe on the water.
Very, very helpful. Okay, so there's something also called a float plan.
Yes.
So can you tell us what that is and why float plans are so important?
So float plans are very important because when we go out and if something happens and we don't let anyone know, time is ticking.
Right.
And no one knows that you're going to be out. No one knows when you're going to be coming back. And so no one knows you're out there. And so there's not going to be an easy way
Yeah.
to get rescue to you. So if you file a float plan, and it can be as simple as letting the slip next to you know, hey, I'm going out.
Yeah.
We're going to be going downstream. We're going to go hang out at Buffalo Shores for a while and then be back by, 6 at night.
Okay.
And 6:30 rolls around and your slip is still empty.
Yeah.
They can notify the authorities.
That makes sense,
So just letting them know where or when you're leaving, where you're going, when you're going to be back.
Right.
Description of your boat and your registration numbers. And it doesn't have to, if you don't have a slip, just, let one of your friends or someone know, hey, if
Yeah.
you haven't heard
That's a
from
good
me by this
idea.
time. Or there's a very detailed one that you
Yes,
can get online
I
at Float
saw
Plan
that.
Central, cgaux.org, I think is the
Yeah.
full address.
All right, so obviously one important thing that you need to have in your boat to keep you safe, just everyone on board, always a hot topic. We're talking life jackets.
Yes.
So I just got my kids a Coast Guard certified life jacket.
Yeah.
So we're good to go, but let's talk about the best practices for using them and what is the law? Is everyone required to have them?
So not everyone, you're required to have them on board. You're
Okay.
not
Okay.
required to wear them unless you are under the age of 16.
Okay.
Okay, good to know.
But always check your state and local regs. So if someone's watching that is from here and not here, right?
Right.
So you want to check and make sure that your state regs, you're following your state regs.
Okay.
But yeah, so if you are over 16, you have to have your life jacket readily accessible.
Okay.
So that means it can't be stowed away in packaging wrapped up somewhere.
Okay.
It can be in a cabinet, but it can't be in any packaging.
Okay.
The only caveat to that is an inflatable life jacket.
Okay.
Those have to be worn or they do not count. So if you
Oh.
have 4 people on your boat and you only have 4 inflatable life jackets and they are not being worn, you basically don't have any
Right.
life jackets on board.
Oh, okay. So lots of good stuff there. And
Yes.
that's something that we could be reminded of during the safety checks that are happening.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and that's all, they remind you of that wording. And so when we're talking about life jackets, there's also the other verbiage of readily accessible and immediately accessible.
Okay.
So the immediately accessible is going to be your throwable, which a lot of people have as a seat cushion.
Okay, yes.
And so the best way to make that immediately accessible, sit on it.
So there you go.
Oh, hey, that's easy to
That's
remember.
nice
So,
and easy to
yeah.
remember.
Yep.
Engine cutoff switch. So this is now required in a lot of cases. Can you kind of?
So it's a federal law that took effect a couple years ago.
Okay.
So all new boats are being manufactured with them under 29 feet or 26 feet.
Okay.
And if you have a cabin, you aren't required to wear it if you are in the cabin.
Okay.
But essentially what it does is if you are thrown from your boat, it kills the engine.
Okay.
So we no longer have the boat doing circles.
Yes. I saw a video of that happening in Florida actually
Yep.
recently in the
So-
news.
Yeah, don't want that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't want that here in the
So
quads.
and it saves people from propeller strikes. It saves.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're not wasting fuel of the boat going around. It saves other boaters from potential boat damage.
Okay. Well, as we wrap up, is there anywhere that people can go where they can learn a little bit more about the Coast Guard Auxiliary?
Yeah. CGAUX.org
Okay.
is going to be our homepage.
Okay.
And so they can go to that site, or you can you can find your local flotilla on that page as well.
Okay.
So especially if you just Google U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary,
Wonderful, yeah.
it'll pop up, and then you can find a local flotilla.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes, and Eric Maitland is learning a lot about this right now.
is,
He
yeah.
is.
As you
Yep.
mentioned, he's very pumped up about it.
Yes. Well, thank you. We appreciate you coming here today and
Thank you.
sharing that
Not a problem. Thank you for having
information.
me.
Yes, absolutely. Well, still to come on QCL, from handmade arts and craft beer to tarot card readings. There is something for everyone at this weekend's community market at Radical Effect in Rock Island, and we're getting a preview next.
Quad Cities Live continues.
If you are looking for a fun local event that celebrates creativity and small business, be sure to stop by Radical Effect Brew Works in Rock Island for the May Community Market. It is set for this Sunday, and the market is really a vibrant monthly event focused on supporting local makers, artists, and entrepreneurs. And joining us today from Radical Effect is Tiffany McMillan and Rich Nunez. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, Rich, looking good as always.
Thank you.
Got your glasses on?
Yes.
Yes. Well, okay, so Tiffany, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about what has inspired these community markets. They seem to be really popular.
Yeah.
They do really well. How have they evolved over these months?
So they started, quite a few years back. We would do them around the holiday, this, that, and the other. But as small businesses have grown, different makers and artists, we've had so many people want to join. They see what we're doing, they see that it's fun, that there's connections that can be made. So we're doing them monthly now just because we have so many people that want to be there, they want to participate and be a part of what we're doing.
Wonderful. Okay, so Rich, what has the response been like from not only vendors but people here in the community?
Super positive, Morgan. Thank you for asking. It's always great to see how many people want to come out and support all these different artisans and craft makers, and then of course support the small business that help support them as well. So I mean, it's just been great.
Okay, very cool. So let's talk specifically about this Sunday, Tiffany. What are some things that we will be able to find at the market on Sunday? You have some really awesome vendors taking part.
Yeah, this one specifically, we've got quite a few local artists. So, outside of just makers, people that create art, paintings, collages, things like that. We've got plants, there'll be jewelry, there'll be sourdough baked goods, organic skincare, stained glass, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, it's always just a really good spot to find something more unique, which is what I love about just area vendor markets in general. You're supporting small local businesses and entrepreneurs, but you're also finding something super unique, which is just fabulous if you're looking to gift or finding something for your home that is different from what we're going to find in some of those big box stores. Also, there's going to be a food truck on hand. You guys have them there all the time.
Yes, we do. We host food trucks usually about 5 or 6 days out of the week, but this week will be Hangry Haven. They'll be there with their smash burgers.
That sounds perfect, especially right now. I'm starving. Smash burgers on Sunday at Radical Effect. Perfect. Now, Rich, we know we've had you on the show numerous times in the past. Radical Effect is known for its craft beer. You actually brought some with you here today. Can you talk about what you have to show off here? There's a new one which I actually would love to try, but yeah, kind of go down the down the list.
Go down this list. So this week was Quad City Craft Beer Week, and there was a Pro-Am competition. Well, not a competition, but just Pro-Am in general, which is professional brewers and home brewers, amateur brewers. And so on Tuesday there was 3 breweries that were hosting over at Endless Brews, and so they had Adventurous was there and a couple other breweries, and then they had a bunch of home brewers. So checking out all the different beers. Yesterday at Radical Effect was the Illinois breweries that were part of this process. So we had Radical Effect, we also had Rebels and Lions, and we also had Bent River.
Right.
And so we brought those beers out. And so this is the collaboration that we did with a local home brewer for us.
Oh, really? Okay. What's it called? Is there a name for it?
Ed PA.
Ed PA. Okay.
The guy's name, who was the amateur brewer, his name is Ed.
Okay.
Instead of IPA, we called it Ed PA.
Ed PA. I love it. Well, cheers. I'm excited to try it. I like IPAs. We know that.
This is a pale ale, so
yes.
But very tropical for sure.
Yeah, this is really good. And you guys created this together?
Yes.
With
Yep.
Ed? I love that.
Yep. He did half the recipe, we did the other half of the
That's
recipe.
really cool.
And then we all did the work together, and then here we have the final product.
Well, thank you so much for bringing that. It's actually delicious. So this is going to be available for people to try out this weekend. Wonderful.
It just started yesterday, so we'll have it on for, about another week or so.
That's wonderful. You also brought strawberries and cream with you, which I believe I have tried before.
Right,
this is a very popular one.
That is the strawberry, it's a blonde brewed with strawberry oolong infused tea.
Okay.
So
yes, we have had that one before. It is very popular. People love that.
But this is our newest one right now, El Jefe Piña.
Okay.
So this is a Hefeweizen. It's a German style ale. I don't know if you're familiar with that style.
Yeah.
But we actually add pineapple to it.
Okay.
So if you want to try this one a little
Sure,
bit.
I will. And while you're doing that, I also want to remind people that you offer a lot more than beer as well. So if that's, not your thing, or if you're going with a group of people who love trying craft beers, but maybe that's not you, you have other options there.
Yes, so like in this day and age right now, there are a lot of people that have either gluten allergies or they just don't necessarily want to drink beer. So there's seltzers,
really
ciders, there's THC beverages.
Wow.
We also have a full bar, non-alcoholic beers as well. So we have a different variety for just about anyone that wants to walk in and still be social, but don't necessarily want to have to drink beer or want to drink beer.
Absolutely. And also I'd like to just put a quick shout out in for the Bloody Marys that you guys serve. Sunday's a great day for that. Very, very popular.
Yeah.
Tiffany, before we run out of time, you also have a lot of really cool events coming up beyond this Sunday.
Yeah, we're focused on doing community events. So we have like an intuitive art class with Art with Atticus.
Yes.
So, making sure that art is available for everybody. It's very therapeutic. Next Sunday, we have a sound bath healing. We also do book club monthly. So we have a lot of fun events for the community to offer.
You really do. Rich, I feel like it's just something that you guys have always been about, but it seems to be evolving. You guys like to build connections here in the community, and you host a lot of events to do that.
Right, and these events, especially the craft ones, that is, for someone who might have a full-time job, but they're in the craft game, like whatever it is that they make, but they always wanted to become an entrepreneur. Sometimes this could be that stepping stone for them to branch out and do something for themselves and actually probably open up a storefront.
Yeah, it gives them a little bit more confidence in all of that. Well, thank you guys so much. So the community market at Radical Effect is this Sunday, May 18th from noon to 4 p.m. Going to be a beautiful weekend. There will be multiple vendors there along with the Hangry Haven food truck. And of course, to stay up to date on everything happening at Radical Effect, from food trucks to sound healing, just follow along on Facebook. They've got everything posted there. Tiffany and Rich, great job. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Still to come in our second half hour, meet the shoe lady of Galesburg, Illinois, who earned her nickname by collecting and donating more than 20,000 pairs. And one of the Quad City's favorite summer fundraisers is back. This year's Lobster Fest is serving up great food, auction items, and community impact. We'll get details.
And many of us have enjoyed sunshine, a little windy out there today, and now, yes, a few showers and storms that we'll check out on First Alert Live Doppler radar. And there it is right there. You can see some of those in northern Illinois. We'll take a look at where the severe weather is and whether or not we have severe weather in our forecast next week as our weather pattern turns a little more active. That's coming up in your First Alert forecast in the next half hour of Quad Cities Live.
Accurate and reliable. This is your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Kyle Keel.
Certainly another summer-like day across the QCA. The Everywhere Camera Network does show that we have quite a bit of wind out there. Hard to see on the Rock Island camera. the QC Metro camera, I should say. But there's some whitecaps there along the Mississippi River as we've got those winds that are gusting upwards of 40 miles per hour at times. We've got the sustained winds anywhere from 25 to almost 35 miles per hour. So yes, it's certainly going to be a windy evening out there. At least it's a warm wind. We've got temperatures in the mid 80s, especially from near the Mississippi River points to the east, almost 90 degrees in Princeton. And believe it or not, this is 9 degrees cooler than what it was yesterday, where we reached 98 in Princeton, had that record high of 93 in Moline. We're only making it to 86 degrees, but that is still above the average, which is in the mid 70s. I got a front moving through as well, so that's interacting with the slightly unstable air, producing a couple of showers here. They're kind of pulsy, if you will, here in portions of Jackson County. Had one cell move through Maquoketa and Andrew. Now that's off to the north and east, kind of fizzling out as it gets past Bellevue into Joe Davies County. But the severe weather not too far away. In fact, the Springfield area just got hit with golf ball to tennis ball size hail. We've got some tornado warnings down in portions of central and southern Illinois. St. Louis area actually got hit with some severe weather as well. A severe weather outbreak ongoing there. A few severe thunderstorm warnings just to our north in Wisconsin. We don't have to worry about severe weather as this area of low pressure, which is very well seen on satellite, passes on by and drags that cold front through here this evening. And once it does, it'll take our temperatures from the 70s to the 60s. We've got dry conditions as we had not only overnight but through the weekend. Again, maybe a couple of stray showers here early this evening. Otherwise, we're high and dry. Perhaps a little more cloud cover heading into tomorrow. That will keep temperatures in the 60s. We're dry on Sunday, but Monday we start to track in some rain with our next storm system. Scattered showers on Monday, but the bigger chance for rain, widespread rain, comes Monday night into Tuesday. At this point in time, as this continues through Wednesday, it does look like our severe weather threat is on the lower side. So that's the good news, as temperatures really only make it to the 60s. It could be the mid to upper 60s here as we head into the day on Monday. And then we're talking some low to mid 60s here Tuesday and Wednesday, with off and on chances for showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms. And then we'll finally get closer to 70 degrees here as we head into Thursday of next week. And I think the 70s will return heading into the weekend. So definitely some much needed rain on the way as we head into early next week.
Okay, all right, Kyle, thank you. Yeah. Well, it's time to crack some claws for a cause.
Love that.
Thank you.
It was great.
Thank you
Good
very
writing.
much. Yes. One of the area's most anticipated fundraising events is back.
Yes, we are talking about Lobster Fest, and it's an unforgettable evening of food, fun, and philanthropy, hosted by the Bettendorf Rotary Club.
I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good. Joining us today from the Rotary are John DeDonker and Bill Daly. Gentlemen, thank you both for returning.
We
once
look
again.
great, don't we?
Yes. Oh, you know what? I forgot mine. I better put mine on.
There we go.
All right, there we go. Now I don't feel left out.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. So we're talking June 13th. That's the big fundraiser. So this is happening at the Waterfront Convention Center, and this is a big deal for the Rotary.
Huge deal. Yeah, this is probably the biggest fundraiser we have.
Wow.
We're looking to raise and give away $175,000 this year.
Oh my gosh.
We did almost $130,000 in grants to local charities last year. Wow. And it's a real big event. We have one chosen charity hand in hand, and we hope to raise, $30,000 to $50,000 for them during the event. So
amazing.
It's a big deal, and it's a lot of fun.
Yes,
it's fun. Yeah, when you think of lobster, you think, New England, the Northeast. So where did the idea to have a lobster theme come from?
You want to take this one, Bill?
Well, the original story.
This is our 19th year.
Yes.
So 20 years ago, we were looking for a way to raise funds for the Rotary, and someone came up with, no one has a lobster fest, but people love lobster. So we had a very small event back then, and it has grown and grown to the point where, we may have up to 500 people at the waterfront. Awesome. And it's gone from a little deal to a lot of lobsters are being sacrificed.
Yes, they are.
Point, so.
Yes, not us.
No,
hopefully.
And not us either.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not us either.
So, Bill, describe the evening for us. Kind of take us through everything.
So the evening, especially since we're in the Waterfront Convention Center, for years and years we did it under a tent, whether it was 95 degrees with the sun out or raining, and it just gives a glitz and glamour to the night. The Waterfront Convention Center is an awesome venue, and it is a lot of laughing, music, a live auction that's done by none other than Decker Plain. That's absolutely fantastic.
I just love him. Yes, he's so much fun.
And what's really fun is the fellowship and everything that we get to see some of the same guests and new guests coming in every year and celebrate what Rotary does. We know that each of us can write a small check and do a little bit of good, but when when we all get together and pool our money, we can make a huge difference, and that's what's so fun. The silent auction is probably one of the big grabbers as well, because there's so many great gifts and so many great event packages that are put together.
Oh, yeah.
Is this one of them right here?
That's one of them right there.
I know, we're both like, I should have looked at it earlier.
Yeah, I know, I did.
Yeah.
To look at it. So there's going to be many of these baskets that are available for the silent auction. So we will look forward to that.
Sure.
So obviously, you know, we mentioned the big charity, but there's several other local charities that we're raising money for.
Well, there's a grant committee, and local charities can submit their request, and we will typically give to about between 20 and 25 charities.
Still, that's a good chunk.
Select, so they all get a meaningful amount of money, and they can tell us why they need it, and our panel decides how to dole it out.
Yes, and you mentioned at the beginning of the segment that this year you've chosen a select charity that you're raising. So Hand in Hand, you guys like to highlight one every year.
Correct.
So Bill, if you would, talk a little bit about Hand in Hand and why you guys decided to choose that organization to benefit this year.
Well, specifically, I mean, there's one thing I learned when I joined Rotary, that there's so many amazing organizations in the Quad Cities that do a lot for our community, and Hand in Hand is been around long enough. They're powerful, they're well connected, and they give everything back, and that's what our goal is. And so we really like that organization. They do a chili cook-off every year. That is one of their fundraisers, and we're delighted. The cool thing about the Fund a Cause is it happens right at the end of the event, and everything's electronic, and everybody just starts donating, and it just fills the thermometer in a second. It's unbelievable. Minutes.
Give till it hurts, and then give more.
And that's where our buddy Decker comes in.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, is he good. He got me at an event like you know, just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it's truly amazing to see, though. Really, jokes aside, it warms your heart.
Absolutely,
it really does.
It does. So what are
and
some
he's
of
a Rotarian.
Yes, he is. That's right. Yes.
That's right.
Well, talk about, John, some of the items that are going to get people to want to bid. Some of these silent auction items, some that stand out.
Well, I know we have a ski trip again this year. Wonderful ski venue, I think, at Park City.
Oh wow!
And that will be at the live venue. I mean, phenomenal location, package. That's probably the premier one we have. And then there's always just a range of everything. I mean, I've bought a hunting trip before and shot pheasants hunting. We've had iron tea, you know, so it can be everything. And you know, usually there's 5 or 6 key items that we auction off. And again, Decker keeps the bidding going, and he would never embarrass someone to give more, ever.
No, he wouldn't. Never, not him. Yeah.
Well, you want to mark your calendars for Lobster Fest. It's Friday, June 13th from 5:30 to 9 at the Waterfront Convention Center in downtown Bettendorf. There's still time to get an individual ticket or reserve a table. You can just head to the website on your screen. Very easy to remember, lobsterfestqc.com. John and Bill, as always, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having
us. We're already having fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next on QCL, a visit from the Shoe Lady of Galesburg, Illinois. And she didn't earn her nickname by collecting shoes for herself. No. We'll take a look at the impact she is making on a global nonprofit. Coming up.
Quad Cities Live continues.
She is known around Galesburg as the Shoe Lady, but Penny Wager's passion isn't about collecting shoes for herself.
No, over the past few years, she has gathered more than 20,000 pairs of shoes for Soles for Souls, a global nonprofit that turns shoes and clothing into opportunity. And here to tell us about the organization and how we can all help is the Shoe Lady herself, Penny Wager. Penny, thanks for being here today.
Thank
you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
So happy to have you here. Okay, so how did this all begin for you?
This began 3 years ago when my daughter started working for Soles for Souls.
Okay.
And she knew I was big into volunteering, and she said, Mom, I really think this is something that you can get your hands on. And it went from there.
Okay. Yeah, what inspired your first shoe drive, or how did it go? How'd you put it all together?
Well, my church has been wonderful, First Presbyterian Church, and I went to them and said, we need to start collecting used shoes. And we had a box right outside the church and on my porch. And so we had a soul searching Sunday. And we've done that with several churches and said, okay, the shoes don't do any good in your closet. Everybody tells me they have shoes, but having shoes and getting them to me is a whole different ballgame.
Okay.
So the shoes have to come to me to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, I think we're all guilty of it just a little bit, right? We will want to donate what we have, and we drive around with a big box of stuff to donate in the back seats of our cars.
Yep.
It takes somebody like Penny to just kind of keep reminding people we could use these, and this is what we need them for. So
so Souls for Souls, you know, we were mentioning it's known globally, so we go from Galesburg to across the globe. So talk more about the organization.
The organization has 4 main arms of it that it does. One is for relief. Ukraine has gotten tons of new things from Souls for Souls because they don't need used, they need new. So whenever there's a disaster, they come in on that. Then there's what I deal with is called For Opportunity. And they're hooked up with 139 countries now. Wow. And what they do is we collect all these used shoes, and here's a few of them. And I have a whole garage full at home. But we collect these shoes. Zappos pays for all the shipping. Oh, wow. I send them off UPS to Wadley, Alabama. And there they are sorted and sent to about 5 major countries that they have somebody on the grounds who picks people who have no way to earn a living but have possibility. And they train them in how to run their own shoe store. Then the shoes are provided to them. They go to class in the morning, they learn about advertising, they learn what to do, and then there was a picture of a big shoe on the front of this woman's house. I went to Guatemala in March to see this happening, and I thought maybe it would just be a rug with a few pair of shoes. Well, Jose had painted this huge shoe on the front of her porch, on her whole house, and her living room had been turned into the shoe store.
Wow.
Then she and her mother and her child live in the rest of the store.
Yeah, we're seeing photos from that trip right now. It's very cool.
That's why we have to keep the shoes coming, because we can't set somebody up with a business. And you know, it's really hard for them to think about tomorrow if they can't get through today. So Souls for Souls gives them the opportunity to make this happen.
This trip that we're seeing right now, how did this kind of further shape your commitment to this cause?
Oh, it was incredible. That's Jose in the picture there, who runs the Guatemala in Antigua. And besides seeing how it worked with that, we gave out new shoes to 3 different schools.
Great.
And all the children in the school got a new pair of shoes. And the word went out pretty soon, and a lot of kids who hadn't come to school that day were coming. And of course, we gave shoes to everyone. And after they got their pair of shoes, we gave each of them a little trinket that they got to pick.
That's so cool.
And on the prize table, these kids stopped forever looking and looking and looking. And I said, I don't have any Spanish. I said, what's the big hang up, you know? Can they pick something? And they said the majority of these kids have never picked anything for themselves. So they would pick up something and they'd put it back, and they'd pick up something else. And nobody said, whoa, all the good stuff is gone. Or the only thing that's left are socks or toothpaste. Everybody was so excited that they got to pick something. I think the picking was as exciting as actually what they got.
Sure,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, this is great what you do. I mean, you took that trip to Guatemala after your 10,000th pair of shoes. So, you know, now you're over 20,000. Did you ever think that when you started this in you know, small town, relatively Galesburg, that it would grow to this scale for you?
You know, originally I said 5,000, I'd be really happy. And 5,000 came, no problem. And then 10,000 came. And people said, how long are you going to collect shoes? And I said, as long as you have shoes in your closet and I can do it, I'm going to collect them.
Oh
but
my gosh.
I was riding my bike down the street the other day and some man yells, I have shoes for you.
I know who you are, Galesburg.
Yes. And no matter where I go, I give somebody one of these. I went to the doctor.
Spread the word,
The receptionist got one, the nurse got one, the doctor got
You're
one.
doing a great job.
And then they post them. And that's what they need to do, of where to drop off these shoes.
So do we do shoes of all sizes?
All sizes. We don't do shoes with holes.
Perfect.
Or that the bottom of the soles are broken. And we have to tie them together, because otherwise they get to Alabama in those big bags and
you can't find the other one.
You can't find the other one. So I either rubber band them or tie them together, and then that way they're kept together.
How can people support you and maybe get involved themselves?
Well, there's 2 things that they can do. They can either collect their own shoes and go online at Souls for Souls and print out a shipping label and just put them all in a box and send them. And when you send your sheet, you report into Souls for Souls if you're a donor.
Okay.
And they'll say, were you part of a shoe drive? And then you can just put in my name as being part of the shoe drive.
Perfect.
Okay.
Or just send them in to yourself.
Yeah.
And another way they can participate every May, and this is May, and there's a shirt up front.
Oh yeah, all these shirts. Yeah.
That says for every kid. And one of the arms that they do is for every kid in May.
Okay.
A whole bunch of us volunteer to walk mileage every day in May. I have pledged 300 miles for May, and I'm over 200. And then we have to find people who will sponsor us for our miles that we do. Our goal is to raise $500,000 this May.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We're going to put all this information on our website.
Yes.
Penny, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, obviously, you're very passionate about it. We certainly appreciate it. Well, up next, we're going to be sharing our wins of the week, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
It is time now for our wins of the week. We made it to Friday.
We did.
Kyle, what's your win of the week?
My win of the week, we have beautiful... You're all the way, get away from me. No, just kidding. So obviously the weather was great. So every day after work, I went outside and played with my kids. And I mean, we played hard.
Good for you.
I'm tired. Some guy in our neighborhood saw us playing one day, and they gave us a bin of like all these balls and baseball gear. And then Chandler and Sabrina also enjoyed the weather, so we just had a bunch of fun outside. And that's what I'll be doing.
You were in your PSL shirt in that background of that.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you were.
I did. I got to rep that every so often, right?
Those ray gun ones, though,
yes,
right? Those are awesome. Very cool. Congratulations on doing that. I've been.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Yes, it's been a week.
Yeah.
So mine goes back to actually last Friday. As soon as I left here last Friday, I hit the road for a girls' trip. It was for a friend's 40th birthday, but a bunch of us neighborhood moms and friends went to Galena for this girls' trip. There we are. There was like 20 of us that stayed in this hotel. We like shared rooms. It was like a good old slumber party.
Up,
yeah, I brought my air mattress.
Oh boy.
We played games.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun that we've decided we're doing it every year.
Every year.
So it was fabulous. That was my win of the week. Yes. Thank you so much for watching Quad Cities Live.
Yes, thank you so much. And your news at 4 with Sharon is coming next. Have a great evening.